Speaking of uncomfortable positions, I'm sure you've heard the Bloomberg audio already, but I'll play it again for you if you haven't. There's leaked audio of Bloomberg that's making the rounds online, going massively viral, talking about stop and frisk and violent crime and all these things. And here's what Bloomberg said.
95% of your murderers and murder victims fit one MO. You can just take the description, Xerox it, and pass it out to all the cops. They are male, minorities, 15 to 25. That's true in New York, it's true in virtually every city. And that's where the real crime is. You've got to get the guns out of the hands of the people that get killed. So you want to spend the money, put a lot of cops in the street, put those cops where the crime is, which means in minority neighborhoods. So it's one of the unintended consequences is people say, oh my God, you are arresting kids for marijuana that are all minorities. Yes, that's true. Why? Because we put all the cops in the minority neighborhoods. Yes, that's true. Why do we do it? Because that's where all the crime is. And the way you get the guns out of the kids' hands is to throw them up against the wall and frisk them. And then they say, oh, I don't want that. I don't want to get caught, so they don't bring the gun. They still have a gun, but they leave it at home.
Now, this is, of course, trending on Twitter with the hashtag Bloomberg is racist. And that is not the kind of hashtag you want to see as a candidate. There's my searing political insight. That's why I should be a professional political analyst, because of analysis like this. You don't want to have a hashtag calling you racist as a political candidate. That's all I'm saying. Bold suggestion. And Bloomberg has spent a ton of money cultivating a brand online, and it has now been undone almost completely in one fell swoop by this. Is it actually racist, though? Is Bloomberg really a racist because of what he said there? Of course not. Of course not. He's saying that violent crime disproportionately happens in minority neighborhoods, and that's true. That's an accurate statement. You could argue that stop and frisk you could argue against that. You could say it's unconstitutional. You could certainly argue against the general tone that Bloomberg is displaying there. But the basic point he's making can't be racist if it's based in statistical realities. Now, he says 95%. I don't know if it's that high in New York, but it's certainly just disproportionate in terms of the violent crime and which neighborhoods that happens in. He probably could have gotten away with all of this if he just had not brought up the racial element of it. If he kept it just speaking in geographic terms, then probably it would have been fine. But he said the other part out loud, and that's where the problem comes from. And it's obviously not going to fly in the Democratic Party in 2020. And Bloomberg decided to try and win the Democratic Party, Democratic nomination in 2020, and that was his choice. And so here's the thing: it's not like I'm going to go to the mat for him to defend Bloomberg and defend his honor. No, Bloomberg is a wonderful man. He's a wonderful man. You people, leave him alone. I'm not going to do that because I don't think he is a wonderful man. I think he's an awful person and would be an awful president. I think he's a megalomaniac, billionaire nanny statist, and I have really nothing good to say about him. However, I'm not going to jump into the fray and say this is racist because I don't think it is. And there've been a lot of conservatives who are taking part in the Bloomberg is racist hashtag and have jumped on that bandwagon. And I understand why they're doing it strategically because they're trying to take Bloomberg out. Okay, I get that. But in the process of trying to take out this particular guy who was never going to win anyway, in the process of taking him out, you're agreeing with the left that it is racist to talk about the statistical realities of violent crime. So you're giving up the argument in order to beat one guy. That is not a good strategy. And this has been my gripe with a lot of conservatives for a while now, where in order to, when they get a chance to score a point against somebody, they'll forfeit their entire position. They'll completely agree with the left in order to win this one little battle here. But you're giving up the greater war in order for the sake of winning this battle. That's not a good strategy. See, when you give up the argument for the sake of taking down a person, then fine, you've taken down the person, but you've lost the argument. And the thing that separates the left from the right, and oftentimes the separation is not always obvious, especially these days, but if anything separates those, if these two sides mean anything, it comes down to the arguments. We're making different arguments, we believe different things. Well, if you give up the argument and get rid of the people you don't like, then what happens in the end is that you've replaced the people you didn't like with people you do, but it's all leftism anyway. And I don't think that's a good strategy. So what do we say about Mike Bloomberg? Well, I don't think we have to say anything. As I said, I don't think we have to come out stridently to defend him at all. But I also don't think we agree with the left on things like this, on points where they're wrong. And we know that there are terms of service that come with trying to win the Democratic nomination. And according to those terms, when audio like this comes out, you're branded a racist, and that's it. Bloomberg played the game and lost. He knew the fine print. He knew what was in it. And that's it. And he loses. Okay, fine. I'm not crying any tears for him. All I'm saying is I'm not going to come out now for the sake of getting my shot on Bloomberg and say, oh yeah, that's totally racist. To say that kind of stuff, totally racist. Oh, I'm so offended. I'm offended by this racism. And the problem is, especially as a Trump supporter, it gets kind of awkward because if Trump's, they're coming here, they're bringing drugs, they're rapists line, that he was kicked off his campaign in 2016. If that line was not racist, and I don't think it was, but if that line wasn't racist, then there's no way this is. And I know that, as a lot of times when it comes to Trump, we've gotten used to this notion that he exists in this kind of bubble where he's immune to everything. And so you can have a double standard with him and it's okay, but I don't think you want to get too comfortable with that. It's not going to last forever. And it's not hard for people to say. If you come out as a conservative and say, yeah, Bloomberg is a racist for this, well, it's not a hard connection for people to make. They're going to say, now, wait a second. Okay, that's racist? Then, okay, let's look at the stuff that Trump said. So now you're saying that's racist too? And your response is, oh, no, that's different. That's totally different. How's it different? It just is. I don't know. It just is. Not a compelling argument. Thank you for tuning into the Daily Wire, one of the fastest growing conservative media outlets in the entire country. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and a subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our content.